My ex-wife Samantha and I share a bunch of memories that you just can't erase. We met when I was 22 and she was 20 through a group of mutual friends. She was my first real love, at least the first one that mattered. We had a lot of firsts together, and soon enough, we made it official. A year later, our son was born, and we lived our lives side by side for over 20 years. Last year, we celebrated our wedding anniversary in a wonderful restaurant. Everyone congratulated us and said that we would continue in the same spirit for another 20 years. And to be honest, I thought that's exactly how it would be. But, as life often shows, you can't plan too far ahead. To tell you a little about myself, I have always been considered an ideal family man. Everyone knew me as a loving father and husband, faithful, without secrets. To tell the truth, I worked tirelessly to keep my family from experiencing difficulties. For long hours without a break, I just didn't waste time. Thanks to my hard work and some business skills, I managed to establish contacts and eventually open my own law office. Samantha was an incredibly bright and charming woman. When we first met, she worked as a sales manager for a large supermarket chain. After the birth of our son, she did not want to return to this job and opened her own beauty salon. I helped her find investors through my business contacts. At first, everything was going well, but then the crisis came, and we had to close the establishment due to losses. After that, Samantha kind of lost her spark. She gave up and stayed home. Honestly, I never really pushed her to go back to work. Over the years, things between us became more routine, smooth, but without the fire we once had. Our son grew up, and when he turned 18, I handed him the keys to his new apartment. It seemed like the right time for him to start living his own life, to separate from us and figure things out. He's a serious guy, focused on his studies, and I'm proud of the way he's handling everything. Letting him go was no big deal for me. After our son moved away, Samantha fell into a deep depression. She went on to say that she had lost herself and felt trapped in the daily routine of housework. At about the same time, a new employee joined my office as a junior lawyer. From the moment he came to the interview, I realized that George had big plans. I could already feel his confidence and ambition. I'm not sure exactly when Samantha met him, but I think it happened at our company's New Year's Eve party. It was one of those typical events where everyone brings their partners. George stuck to my wife all night, flirting with her, complimenting her, and even inviting her to dance. Of course, I saw it all, but I didn't think much of it at first. I figured a little harmless flirting wouldn't hurt and might even be good for Samantha. But after that party, it was like my wife was a different person. She became more lively, upbeat, and even changed her hairstyle. She bought new clothes, started hitting the gym, and told me she was tired of being cooped up at home, wanting her life to have a bit more color again. On the surface, everything seemed fine. But as time went on, I started noticing other odd changes in her behavior. Samantha, who had never really shown any interest in my work beyond the usual "how was your day?" at dinner, suddenly started asking about my business. She'd pop into the office on random occasions, always finding excuses to come in, and she couldn't stop singing George's praises, how smart and hardworking he was, and how we should give him a promotion. It didn't sit well with me, and I could feel the jealousy creeping in. One evening, I confronted her about it. I asked her straight out if there was something going on. She just stared at me, acting completely innocent, and denied everything. She said she was just focusing on herself so that I'd still find her attractive and not let her become a household drone. Somehow, she managed to turn the conversation around so smoothly that I ended up feeling like the fool. Everything seemed to calm down, but my suspicions didn't disappear. And it was only by chance that the truth eventually came to light. One Saturday morning, Samantha was rushing to the beauty salon, trying to call a taxi. She asked to borrow my phone because, for some reason, the app wasn't loading on hers. After calling the cab, she tossed my phone onto the couch and dashed out of the apartment like she was on fire. It was about 15 minutes before I finally grabbed the phone and, without thinking much, glanced at the screen. And then it hit me. You're such an idiot, Samantha. The destination wasn't the beauty salon. I knew where that was. I shut the app down and called the secretary at the office, asking her to check George's personal file. She took a little while to find it, but when she did, she told me the address listed in his residence column was exactly the same as the one the taxi had just left for. I didn't waste any time. I called Samantha, and she picked up after just 10 seconds, but her voice was off, strained, like she was out of breath. She said she'd stay at the salon for another hour and would come straight home afterward. I didn't buy it for a second. I got in my car and drove straight to where the taxi had gone. I stood there by the entrance, watching. You should have seen Samantha's face when she came out, holding hands with her young lover. She froze when she saw me standing there. I won't go into the details of what happened next, but let's just say in the end, I divorced her, even though she begged for my forgiveness. I ended up swapping our apartment for 2 smaller ones, mostly because of our son. After all, she was still his mother. I handed her the keys to one of the new apartments and told her, if you love George so much, then go live with him. I'm fine with it. As I expected, as soon as her lover stopped working in the office, George suddenly lost all interest in her. He only used her to succeed, and when it was over, he dropped her like a hot potato. However, he didn't understand that I was the one making the decisions. Thus, his reputation suffered greatly. Now he will have to work hard to find a job in his specialty. Not long ago, I ran into Samantha at the grocery store. She was working the cash register, looking worn out and completely drained. It made sense. She'd been living off of everything I'd provided for so long, and now she had to go work for pennies. Sure, I'm partly to blame. I wasn't paying enough attention to her needs, and maybe I should have done more. But that doesn't excuse what she did. She could have talked to me about it, or at the very least, we could have gone to a family therapist. But instead, she took the easy way out. And now she's left with nothing. No love, no money,